the YouTube recording, so the fan will shut up. So now you can share it on Facebook. It's on Compton J. Smith.
Oh.
The Facebook page, and I'll get you tagged in it and all that good stuff. So while you're doing that, the appropriate plugs. It's a Wednesday evening. We are early for the Blind Mule because there's an open mic on Wednesday nights here at the Blind Mule in Mobile, Alabama's. And so open mic night. There's also a show this weekend at the Blind Mule to keep up with those, since replays and whatnot. Click, click. It's okay. That was louder.
What the fuck was that?
That's my transformer down there.
Awesome.
So whatever comedy, Mobile comedy. There are a couple of different pages. Catch up to keep up with all the goings on here in Mobile comedy scene, which is where I met you. And so Thomas Fendley, I know you as a comedian, but tell me about you. Where the fuck did you get that Corona hat? I don't know. Where do you want to begin?
That's what I was worried about. I was like, do I have to start this? Like,
no. You don't.
But I mean,
how long have you been doing stand-up comedy? We'll start.
I've been doing it about 2, maybe 3 years.
That's great, man.
Not really sure.
What got you into it?
Well, I've wanted to do comedy ever since I was like little. When I was younger, I watched stuff like George Carlin, Lewis Black, a lot of well-known comedians. Used to watch like different shows on old Comedy Central, like The Root of All Evil with Lewis Black, The Mind of Mancia. I mean,
that guy.
Yeah, like, you don't tell me. I heard about him.
It's okay.
It was shocking because I was like, this is my childhood destroyed. Like, it was. But I mean, I get it. Stuff like that happens in media, and Joe Rogan was actually the one who was the main person who talked about it, wasn't he?
Well, Rogan called him out on Comedy Central, or not on Comedy Central, excuse me, at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing. It was a big to-do.
That's all the videos like that. It's like, oh, shit.
What I know about it, for those of you who don't know, Carlos Mencia was accused of being a joke thief. And this behavior went on for a very, very long time. A lot of comics were upset about it. I've seen video clips of other people admitting to the fact that he was a joke thief in some regards. And then he was confronted by Rogan at the Comedy Store out in, what would that be, L.A.?
Yeah.
And
that's where all the big action happens, I would guess.
Yeah. And so Mencia's career was kind of
it went on a big downslide. Like, you never saw him again. That's how bad it was, because like joke stealing is like a heavy offense in stand up.
Yeah, that's something I worried about for a long time when I got into it, was because I've been such a fan of comedy for so long, like you.
Yeah.
I was afraid that someone else's material would crop up. And so my best guard against it is knowing that I would never intentionally steal somebody's joke.
Yeah, and I don't even see like the purpose in doing that, because like creating your own material just is way better. It makes you feel good about something. It's like you achieve something almost.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you're gonna think of like 1,000 jokes, and most of them aren't gonna work, but it's still like a comforting feeling, like knowing that this joke is something that you refined and you made, and that you hope does well, and if it does, you feel more excited about it.
Yeah, it's like a piece of artwork, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people say it's like comedy is the lowest form of entertainment, but I find it to be the highest.
Who in the world says that?
I've just heard it said before. I mean, I don't believe it, but
I think those people are morons.
Yeah. I'm a dramatic person. Like, no.
Well, I mean, that takes a certain amount of skill, for sure.
Of course.
But I've hung around musicians the last couple of years.
I would say comedy takes just as much a skill as, like...
Funny enough, the musicians I talk to would rather have a prop. They'd rather have a guitar. The thought of being on stage, for some of them, without a guitar is it's harder enough in their mind for them to comment on it, which I take that pretty seriously. I mean, it's been a nice compliment because those are my peers. You know, that was kind of my world for a while, to hear them say that that's something that they would have difficulty doing. So I think people who know understand how difficult it is to get people to be funny on demand.
Oh yeah, it's you ever?
I'm still fucking learning, man. I've been doing this for
me too.
Like less than a year.
I
know Drake shite.
I'm
a fan of comedy though.
Yeah, same here. It's like I've always loved comedy. I've always wanted to do this, and I finally got the chance years ago at a small coffee shop called Satori.
Satori. I've heard that name. Where have I heard that name? Here in Mobile?
It's in Mobile. It's the small coffee shop near South Alabama. Like where...
University of South Alabama?
Yeah.
Man, I took a philosophy class over there one summer.
I don't even talk about philosophy with them.
So Satori...
Oh, wait, no, it was psychology I took that. It was horrible. I was thinking of something.
So Satori is a coffee shop out
it's a little small coffee shop that is like hipster central.
Oops. I don't think they'd let me in. I'm too old. Is there an age limit on hipster?
No, there's no age limit there. I have no idea, honestly. Oh. It's a whole other world I don't know of.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be fine. We could go. I'm sure they're good people.
They're fine. I mean, most of it's just full of like college liberal kids, like not too far, but like far and like close. Like
Ben Shapiro's not hanging out there on the weekends, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro would feel like out of place.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, Story was the first place I ever did it. I was scared shitless out of my mind when I first did it because I said nothing.
You got on stage and said nothing?
I said
for
nothing.
For how long?
For 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I was terrible. I was.
By nothing, you mean
nothing at all. It's just like just so afraid. I had. You would not believe it, but I had a terrible stage fright when I first started. Very horrible stage fright. Like I couldn't look directly at a human being, anyone. It's kind of crazy. Like and now the 2-3 years now.
Tell me more about this 5 minutes you spent on stage not saying.
Actually, anything. I don't even know if it was 5 minutes. It just felt like forever. I got off after like a little while after, and I felt bad, and then I got the chance to go right back up, and I staggeredly like did a few things on my mind. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to start anything. I couldn't do anything. Like This was a terrible experience. First experience, terrible.
What had you done to prepare for that?
Nothing.
First time.
Nothing.
So you just
this was
were
on a
going
whim.
For it.
Yeah, this was like
that's brave, man.
Like a feat of destiny was like almost calling to me, kind of thing. It was.
I couldn't do that.
So
I had to go
up.
home and get worked up to do it.
Really?
Yeah, because I hung out. I had it in my mind that I wanted to give it a try, but I hung out at open mics for probably over a month before I was finally like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I think I had said to somebody, I'll probably try it sooner or later, but it took me weeks to get to that point.
Yeah.
So
I should have prepared for it, but it was
to you for just getting up there.
It was literally just what's the word for it? Spontaneous, strictly spontaneous. That's basically what the sum of my life, though. But a spontaneous, random crap that has gotten me into embarrassing and horrible situations.
That's life, yeah. That sounds about right.
I've been in a lot of those.
That's just kind of what we do.
Pretty much. I mean, if you don't have a story.
It's kind of what we do.
But, yeah, ever since then, I just started working on my skits and saying how I do well, and after a while, it just the the stage fright just kind of went away. Well, not completely. I still have anxiety, and I still wander around awkwardly like a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's been people that have been doing it for like since like the 60s or 70s or something.
You talking about Marshall?
Yeah, Marshall.
Dude, Marshall supposedly has VHS tapes. Carson told me Marshall has VHS tapes of him doing comedy and opening up for some real killers. I would love to see some of that stuff.
Yeah, and he showed me like a newspaper article of like him just in the news. Like, it's like, Jesus, like this guy has been doing this for so long, and he's doing it here. I mean, at some point, you feel like moving on. It's like he just never left.
Well,
I'm sure he had like a bunch of big breaks.
Yeah, but I don't think Marshall comes out going, I'm gonna make it this week. Yeah. I think Marshall comes out going,
he just does it like,
you know what?
This is familiar.
This is gonna be fun for me. I don't think it's even familiar. I think, and I hope, because I hope when I get to be Marshall's age that I just do shit for my own amusement.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm working on now, and so I would hope that Marshall is doing that better than I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Marshall comes out thinking, I'm going to get a comedy special, or I'm going to go on tour.
He just does it because he loves it.
Which is awesome.
It is, and I've been loving it ever since I've been doing it, because like that moment when I first did it was like, in my mind I was like, it's either now or never.
Yeah.
And I felt like I would never do it if I didn't have the chance to do it. Because, like, I talked about it for years, like, in high school, and so many times, like, I'm going to do comedy, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to go to L.A. or New York, and I still have that plan of going to either of those places when I'm done with college. And that's
cool.
going to be an adventure.
What are you studying?
I am a history major.
History major.
Currently taking a break from South, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's
well. What do you like about history, man? Tell me.
It's just
talk to me about history, because I can go all the way back to the Anunnaki. Okay, let me give you the framework I'm on history wise. I'm working on building based on Gerald Clark's genealogy of the Anunnaki and a couple of different things. The Bible, all of the great references. The Enuma Elish, working together my own working history of the chronology of how some of these crazy things happened, like the Younger Dryas event, as well as some other things, just for my personal understanding. Yeah. So I study the crap out of this stuff. Now, that's what I'm working on historically. What did you like about history?
Well,
do you get into ancient alien stuff?
Well,
too?
It's kind of like.
Do you do real history?
What?
Do you do real history?
Dude, what do you mean, real history?
Not anything besides ancient aliens. I think that's real history.
The history of I can't even think of something off the top of my head. But I mean, history, like, not really in general, but I was always interested in like ancient Europe stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of religion, mythology mainly.
Oh yeah.
Just because like a lot of the stories from back then, and like all the ways that they taught their people and their different societies, how they connected with one another, like Rome and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of that stuff. But mainly the mythology stuff, because a lot of the beginning stories and the different creation stories, and it was just very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
They're like adventure stories that happen in real life. Like, you feel like they're fables, but there's like, this is stuff that happened.
Yeah. The Gilgamesh story. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Troy, Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey.
One of my favorite ones is the Divine Comedy from Dante. Dante's Divine Comedy. I got that backwards.
What got you into that one? It's been a while for me.
Believe it or not, the animated movie got me into it.
I have never seen the animated movie. There's an animated Dante's Inferno.
There's like an anime version, like movie. Like it's a. I don't know if it's. I thought I saw it on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there, but it's basically like. I mean, and it's nothing like the actual like book, but it's like an action-packed version of it.
Oh.
Like based on the book.
I'm immediately disappointed.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not like Dante is like this crusader that came home from war. It's like it tells a story of like how he came home from the Crusades and he did all this sinful shit, and he comes home and his lovely bride to be Beatrice is dead, is killed by demons or whatever, or Satan, and he has to go to hell and like fight all the demons and shit. There's even a video game based off of it too.
I must have just missed all that.
Oh, this is like, I can't even remember what year this was made, but it's not bad. It's like a Christianity version of Christian Catholic version of God of War. It's an action-packed version of it, but it's not bad. I mean, if you're like more into the classical version, I get that, but like there's a lot of fun with the action-packed version because it has like a lot of like historical like things in it. Like it has the bosses you fight. One of them is the Tower of Lust. It goes through all the 9 circles of hell. And one of them is the boss for the Tower of Lust is Cleopatra and Mark Antony, because their affair with each other, like during that time period, and like they like made them into like a boss battle, and like they were lovers of hell, basically, and it's really cool. It just, you get to slowly figure out that Dante was like not as much of a crusader as you think he was. He was like murdering and like killing people, believing in the falsehoods of the priests that said they were absolved of all their sins. And it's just epically epic. I was going to say epically awesome, but I didn't want to be a dork, but I already made myself one.
No, I actually read the Divine Comedy.
Yeah,
so
the Divine Comedy. I have the copy.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I got dork right there with you, man.
and stuff like that is like what's interesting. Just like stories like that. I also watch like a lot of documentaries on Netflix and other outlets.
Yeah, what do you like?
Mainly a lot about Rome, because like it's just interesting to hear talk about like, or just watch like the different, because I've always responded better to like visual stuff than I did like reading something.
Yeah, sure.
And I got really into like the history, a lot of the history stuff about Rome because of the not animated, but the sequences that they showed it, and just hearing like narrator talk about it in like a serious but like calm tone. It's just nice to hear like that kind of stuff. Kind of the same feeling from an audiobook, but something visually pleasing about watching an hour documentary. It's just a dork.
Oh no, that's one of the ways that I got caught up on a lot of things. I would have documentaries just constantly playing in the background when the History Channel and all that stuff was always at the top of my list. And so when they first came out with the TiVo DVR boxes, I would record just every educational program I could find and started plowing through that stuff. That's kind of how I got my starts into string theory, was Brian Greene's What the Bleep Do We Know was the soft intro for me into...
I've heard of string theory.
Physics, yeah.
I mean, I've heard of a bunch of stuff like that, but like what technically is that? Like, could you...
Sure, string theory is the below quantum mechanics. So below atoms, protons, neutrons, and electrons, we have these whole other group of things, quarks and gluons and muons and these other things. But basically, on a subatomic level, what string theory proposes is that across these 11 dimensions, all matter vibrates, which to me segues right into a whole bunch of Buddhism and Eastern philosophy. But that's kind of the gist of string theory, is that that way
Like
down on
everything's
some
connected?
subatomic levels, that it's all based on vibration.
That's really.
There are these
it is really interesting.
strings that make things up, and of course it gets overtly complicated. I am not.
I'm sure it does, because like.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of math that goes along with that, but it's the understandings of quantum mechanics. Like they're beginning to write. Well, they've written the math. Like pretty much, string theory is exotic fluff at this point. There aren't a whole lot of answers there, but it opened the door for a lot of understandings to quantum mechanics and vibrational harmonics, and I'm sure there are people that know more about physics that can explain it better than me, but it means more in the realm of experimental science and theoretical science than it does in practical applications, I think.
Jesus.
But I'm kind of stretching at this point. But string theory.
So you're a big science. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, in like string theory, I remember when it was first being developed and they were first talking about, or when I was being exposed to it, and it went through this rapid development where they started out with, there were a couple of different dimensions, and then they figured out there were 11 different dimensions, and then they talk about this brain theory, which is M theory, which is this really the search for the answer to everything from a physics standpoint, and resolving Einstein's...
The god of physics.
yeah, like really way out there theoretical physics stuff, and so...
Like it almost reached into philosophy kind of levels?
Yeah. It was going from something that was philosophic, that Einstein couldn't come up with the theory of everything. And string theory started to become this thing that could explain a lot more. And so it looked for a little while like string theory was going to be the theory of everything, or, to the lay people it did. To me it did for a hot minute, but there's so much more going on now. Like, I'm into field theory now, I think. And mind you, again, I am not a physicist. I'm
not either. So
I like thinking about this stuff, and I understand it from kind of a broad strokes perspective. And so I look at now what's going on as we're moving from this point theory, like points in history, to these bigger field versions of what's going on, and that the way everything is interacting is very much part of the same system. Like, we're starting to understand dark matter and dark energy and the space in between, which to me goes way back to the concept of void, which is we're just rediscovering all this stuff in new ways. String theory and all that stuff. You can get into the Buddhist and shamanic practices and yoga, and you pretty much have it. Like, I listen to some new age podcasts that talk about these people that do these quantum harmonic some printers and these some really out there stuff.
Yeah, it's like some...
Yeah, and so I'm listening to these people...
Let's take some shrooms and see what happens.
Yeah,
like kind of shit.
No, like, these people aren't even eating good shrooms. Like, there's some...
They're not good.
No, like, these people are just making crap up. But they're making up a terminology for things that are out there, like for phenomena that already exists. And I think the people who did that best and first, as far as my research goes, are the ancient Indians, the Hindus, the Brahmins. Because if you go back, those texts go back 10,000 years, and 6 to 10,000 years, and they talk about how it's all an illusion, it's all holographic universe. Like, you can find the most cutting edge science explained in those same principles, like the things that we're starting to understand about field technology and sound technology and vibration. Those people knew about it a long, long time ago. And so there are people that talk about these great new kinesiology things, and it's like, you're talking about yoga.
That is weird how, like, a lot of those big, like, worldly concepts, like, just date way back into that ancient era of where you wouldn't think, like, with all the technology that we have now, you wouldn't think that people back then had that much of enlightenment.
I think that we're in a lot of ways we're dumber than they were.
Yeah, we're just like we don't want harmony bullshit. Like,
well, one of the things I think we screwed up on. Hang on. So I press that button every 25 minutes just to. It's a technical thing.
Okay.
It requires it. It has to do with the camera heat.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's also just a good reminder to get any of the plugs in there. Like, that's about 25 minutes.
Okay.
So before I get into how the wheel fucked everything up, tell people how to find all the stuff that you do. Were you on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff?
I mean, I haven't really advertised myself, honestly. I mean, I've been thinking about doing that. What the hell was that?
Yeah, crazy people in trucks. Well, if your friends want to come out, if your friends see this and want to come see you do some comedy, the Blind Mule will.
Yeah, the Blind Mule is the main place you could see me. Which is downtown Mobile. The Merry Widow and Satori's. I'll sometimes be there.
You gotta give me the details on Satori's. That sounds like I need to come shake up some mustaches.
It's kind of like a meh, kind of like 50-50.
I definitely need to be there. If it's meh, I fully want to experience meh.
But there's like a lot of like big like life concepts that people talk about there.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh man, I would love to go poop in somebody's cereal. That'd be tons of fun.
You just pooping in our cereal, man.
Well, yeah. So here you go. Here's my first cereal poop of the day. I think our invention of the wheel really screwed us up. I think it really screwed us up as people. Civilization was probably way up there, but the wheel is probably a close second or third. In that, it ruined our ideas of what it is we need to be doing and jump to. We have paved roads and these little things that scoot really fast along the smooth surface. But if it's not a smooth surface, fucked. So
that is true.
So how effective is the wheel really? Like, birds. Birds figured out how to fly. Like, they way got us beat. Hands down. So, we wanted to be able to fly, but we couldn't fly. And so we came up with wheels, which is a way shitty substitute for wings. So here we are, trying to shortcut our way through travel by creating these little wheels so we can move stuff faster. When in reality, what we should have been doing was not worried about doing anything but running further and faster, because that's what we're capable of. Now, that gets us into the philosophy of we can build our way out of our own evolution, which is the beginning of, just like civilization, man's separation from his natural condition. And that's a Kenneth Burke quote. But we separate ourselves so much from the only thing, that we're really connected to, the planet, the grounding, the plants, and all that good stuff. Just by, building houses and air conditioners and all this good stuff, that we're not part of nature anymore. And that's one of the reasons that, technologically speaking, we have created all these shortcuts that we never really needed in the first place. And that's why ancient Buddhism and Eastern philosophy gets right back to explaining all of these things that we think science is doing well, when in fact we're just delusional about the fact that this is the best way that we can do it so far, because people just haven't seen all the other possibilities, and because the other possibilities make us look like children.
Yeah, I think people's like concept of spirituality is waning.
How so? What do you mean?
It's just like, as like the furthering of like technology and the furthering of technology and like science is just evolving.
Mm-hmm.
like people are just losing the need to have like a spiritual connection. I mean, I'm sure
or religious. Or is there because I think
I feel like
see
they're
more
both.
people doing yoga and getting involved in stuff, and I see less people
like in a religion, because the concept of dogma is the thing that people are like trying to escape when it comes to religion, because that's religion's main issue, is that they feel like that they have to feel this certain way to feel like whole, and I don't think that humans should feel that way, because like being yourself should be more important than like adjusting to this dogmatic way of thinking, because like in like old like in Rome and other ancient civilizations, where if you didn't even think like anyone else, even in Salem, which was like in what, like 1819 something.
You talking about the Salem witch trials?
Yeah, Salem. What even then was like
late 1800s.
If you even thought a minuscule amount of difference, you would either be shunned, imprisoned, or beheaded.
Well, yeah,
and I think the spirituality isn't the issue. It's this people's like, it's the view of religion and how controlling it can be when it gets too into it, when it gets too into itself.
Yeah,
because
I have a problem with authority myself.
Yeah, and I follow like the law of like just the law.
I thought you were gonna say like the law of one.
The law.
Raw.
I follow Cthulhu.
Edgar Casey.
All hail Cthulhu and his mighty tentacles. Like just some dumb shit. But it's. Fuck, I forgot what I was about to say. But
Dogma.
Like, yeah, dogma.
People following.
People following like different. Shit. It was
people falling in. People doing what they're told.
Yeah, and like the Salem witch trials, they basically just did it. Like, yeah, you
punishing people for not agreeing
for not following not following the line. There's something else, but I get like this sometimes. Like, there are points where I'll just like fade out of like what I was going to originally think, and it's just like it goes blank. And it's like, oh my god, I've lost my mind.
No, not yet. Not yet. I found my mind one time. It was wandering around without me. Oh shit! Somebody sent me a message and I missed it.
Did he?
Mea culpa. Whatever that was. These things happen. These things happen. I'm not a big fan of Dogma. I did like George Carlin in Dogma though, when he played the cardinal guy. That was really funny.
Yeah, and just like the thought of like spirituality just seems to be more, it seems to be free, because it doesn't feel like spirituality, it feels like it doesn't really put you in a caged position, in a very like in a restraining position.
Yeah, I think the deity is a big part of the problem in modern religion. Like, if you look down the road to the Sphinx there,
with the giant tits.
Yeah, that is a sad modern representation of what was at one point in time an astrological reference.
That building creeps me out, by the way.
Oh, the Masonic
if people,
Lodge.
Like, if people saw this building, they'd be like, "What the hell is that?"
It's the Masons Lodge.
I know, but it's so different from everything else in the city. It's so like stood out. I had my prom there.
Oh, you've been in it?
I've been in it. It's
oh goodness.
It's something that you would like see French art films.
It's fake. First off, it's cool once you get up to it, and then you realize that it's all like plaster and
is it
not real? Like, it's not real cuts.
Yeah, that's...
Well, at least some of the facade didn't, so I was kind of disappointed. But it looks...
The inside of it looks like something that you would see, like, people praying to some evil, like, spirit deity or some shit.
Ghostbusters 2. What was that dude's name? I saw that recently.
Which one?
Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, like the dude you're talking about.
The guy standing over the slime. I'll think of his name eventually.
Yeah, I'm bad with like Solar Day sometimes too.
Zool was the bad guy in the first Ghostbusters.
I am Zool.
The Lord of Carpathia, the Scourge of Carpathia. That's the dude's name. Vigo. Vigo.
What movies do you like?
Man,
What movies do you like?
What movies do I like? Werner Herzog. I'm a huge Werner Herzog fan. But anything pre-2002, I've seen pretty much all of them. A friend of mine got me involved in the AFI's Top 100. I don't know if you've heard of that. The American Film Institute.
I don't.
At the end of the 21st century, at the end of the 20th century, the American Film Institute released their top 100 films of the 20th century. Everything from Casablanca, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and Citizen Kane being the top 3, respectively. I think
I get that.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. But they were all 100 of those iconic movies. So I had to watch all of those. But that's just a sampling of. I've seen a whole lot of everything. If I had to narrow it down...
Would you consider yourself a movie buff?
No, I'm not a videophile. Because I know a guy that's seen way more videos than me, like to the tune of several thousand. I've probably seen maybe 600. 700. My buddy has seen thousands. Literally thousands. Some of my faves, Dazed and Confused is way up on the watched list. Just because that was kind of a thing between my buddies and I. I enjoy the cartoon version of The Hobbit.
Yeah. Old school.
I liked...
that was like the first movie I actually read the book first, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The book is, I would say, more interesting.
What about A Clockwork Orange? The book's way better than
the book and The Hobbit.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
Because,
like, The Clockwork Orange...
It doesn't have, like, a weird...
Yeah.
I don't think I've read that one. I've wanted to see that movie, though.
Stanley Kubrick.
I hear it's screwed up.
Stanley Kubrick was insanely cool. He was weird. Like, The Shining... Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he drove that
cool
poor
movie.
Actress nuts. I can't remember her name, but he.
Oh yeah, that was the one where he that was like legit anger and
olive
rage
oil
coming from him.
Yeah, like he terrified that woman.
Was she in any other movies?
Yeah, Popeye.
Oh,
she was olive oil.
She does kind of look like olive oil.
Can't think of her name though.
But
how about you? What movies do you? Do you like?
I like a lot of old black and white movies. Mainly because my dad showed me a bunch of them.
Cool. Which ones come to mind first?
The first, I would say, and I would recommend anyone watch this. It's called 12 Angry Men. It's an older movie, black and white, that a long time ago was it's about 12 people in a room where they go to say if the kid is guilty or not. And it's about an Italian kid who is convicted of killing somebody, and they're all
the jury.
The jury. It's just 12 men who just go in the room, and at first they're going to convict him because they don't want to sit in there all day. But there's just this one, and it has to be unanimous. But there's just this one guy who's so persistent, and he's he didn't kill anybody. And this entire movie, and they get pissed off at him. So this entire movie, and he uses pure logic and reasoning to prove it, one by one, getting him on his side. And it goes to a lot of points. it talks about every point of the case, and it makes you feel it drags this out. Like it's so, and it only takes place in one room. Well, two if you count the bathroom, but it's in one room, and there's no special effects. There's no like anything else. It's just pure acting. It's a pure acting movie, and it's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I think, was it Jimmy Stewart?
I think so.
12 Angry Men? I can't recall.
I mean, my dad, at first I was like so reluctant not to see it because like because I was teenager angst. And my dad like pressured me into it. It's like, fine, I'll watch it. And I feel good about watching that movie because it showed me like what a good acting is.
Right?
It's really good. And
watching old stuff like that is how I got into ballroom dancing.
Really?
So I can testify firsthand on how valuable it was.
And
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and it just made me feel like and when it comes to movies with me, like I don't watch movies twice.
No?
I don't. I have a weird thing of where if I watch a movie again, I will pick out I will nitpick the shit out of it. Like,
does it freak you out to know that I've watched like V for Vendetta a dozen times in the last month?
Really? Why?
Because I love like 3 scenes.
Well, I mean, like,
I do other shit while
fine.
It's on. It's not like I'm focused on it.
Yeah,
but
it's like
I love.
It's like listening to music and like making a table or some shit.
I love listening to him deliver that soliloquy in the beginning, like his V for Vendetta speech, the reason his name is V, and then there are a couple other choice scenes in the movie that I enjoy. Of course, the action bits are pretty good, but that's kind of how I consume. Well, no, that's not true. Rick and Morty is what I've been into lately.
Yeah, Rick and Morty,
like all over my screens.
Yeah, I got into that one. I wanted the Szechuan sauce.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes though.
You ever there's like videos online of people like losing their minds over Szechuan sauce
at McDonald's, right?
Yeah, McDonald's.
I haven't seen that episode.
I want that
yet.
Szechuan chicken sauce, Morty.
See, I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
I got rid of your dad, Morty. I got rid of your dad because I want that Szechuan chicken sauce, Morty. I don't know, Rick. I'm just
How can you quote it if you've only seen it once? I'm so jealous. My brain doesn't
just really
work that
good
well.
at copying some characters. I have like a variety of voices I can do.
I'm really bad at impressions. That's amazing.
I mean, I'm not
you
good.
Practice them, or is just kind of
practice? I would not say. I do the voices mainly, and I just remember like one line they do. I can't like do their voice. I can't like do their character completely. I mean, unless you wrote something down, I could probably do it in their like voice. I could do it in their voice, but other than that, I'm like terrible at like making up lines off the top of my head. I mainly just focus on like what I can do on stage when I do comedy. But I can do like a variety of voices. I can do Bill Clinton.
yeah.
I can do like this, like what I like to call my tiny voice, which sounds weird, but like you'd get it if you heard it. Everybody's got a tiny voice.
Everybody's got a tiny voice.
See, my
Like,
voice
that
isn't
is-
tiny anymore. My cigarette smoking took that.
Yeah,
tiny out
I
of
don't.
my
I
voice.
can't.
That's amazing.
I-
It's amazingly high pitched. You
and
sound
I-
like Vitas. Do you know who
Vitas.
Vitas is?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I gotta watch him.
There's a kitty who wants to chase him.
Yeah.
Oh, this dog is gonna hurt this lady. I hope this doesn't.
She's gonna like be dragged.
It's
Like-
gonna.
Gonna be a real cartoon scene.
Yeah, almost.
But
Almost. Look,
people-
this poor lady.
you ever watched Metalocalypse?
A few episodes here and there. That one was kind of lost on me.
I mean, out of
bad timing though, I was way involved in running around chasing women.
I was about to say it's like chasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you ever heard of a character named Dr. Roxo? He goes a little bit like, I'm Dr. Roxo! Like, just that shit. Like, I'm betting if, like, out of, like, at least one out of every person who's, like, just one out of the entire people who's watching this at least knows who
I'm sure.
Who knows who Dr. Roxo is.
We could phone my little brother, and I'm sure he'd be all over it. There were
cocaine. He just like
There was some time that I just checked out. Like, that dog, man.
He is going at it. He's like, I want that cat.
Man, it's just it's a wrestling match. For those of you that can't see this, there's a wrestling match going on between a dog and the lady that's trying to walk the dog.
Yeah, no, she's like trying so hard to get him out of here.
Yeah,
and she finally did, I think.
Man.
Unless he runs back. I actually had one of those, those really dangerous like leashes that like cut your hands if you touch the leash part. It was like
What'd you have, a pet dinosaur? Like, what the hell?
It was like the leash. It was one of those like retractable leashes. Like,
like just a little paracord.
Yeah,
like
literally, if that thing wrapped around you, you'd be
rope
dead.
burn. Yeah, man, that stuff.
That thing
sucks.
that thing sliced your hands if you touched it.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid,
not good for you.
The cat ran by my dog, and I unlocked the leash thing so like it would go like a yard.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog went like a yard, and one of my friends, back in like an old neighborhood, grabbed the rope, and it sliced her hands.
Ow!
It was awful. I was like, oh my god! And I grabbed the leash, and I was like, I had to get out of here. There was a lot of horrible shit I've probably repressed from my childhood. I don't know all of them. I do remember hitting a parked car when I was younger.
With what?
With my bike.
Oh,
like
you didn't really run into it.
Like this was like a moment of like stress where I was like,
well, what's the most
brain function
terrifying? Like, okay, one of the most terrifying moments for me as a kid was when I got run over by a flatbed trailer.
Really?
Yeah. How about you? Most terrifying of all the crazy, scary stories.
Shit, there's a lot of them.
Most terrible. Where they can't all be the most.
I know. I mean, like, there's just a lot of them I can't really pinpoint because they're all equally terrible, but they're not like bad.
Near-death experience. Hospital.
I almost got hit by a truck once.
Did you ever get hit by a truck once?
No, but I received like the biggest bruise in my life, which like turned purple because when I dodged it, my leg hit the handlebar like really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the entirety, like there was like a big circle purple.
Damn.
But
nothing broke?
Purple circle.
But you didn't break anything.
No, I didn't. Like, it was like very close.
Have you ever broken anything?
No. I mean, I did break my hand. That is a stupid story. I was in high school, and I got so mad at somebody, and I wanted to hit them so hard. I was in boxing at the time. I boxed for 4 years, and I instead hit the wall. Let me explain.
I did that too.
I punched the wall.
I didn't break anything, but
yeah, but my reasoning was like there was a mat on the end of the wall. You ever see like in a gym they had like mats on like one of the beams and shit? Mm-hmm. And on one of the side walls, like they're really soft. And that was I was going to punch that and it just feel like hitting a bag. No, the ones on the side wall were soft, but the other ones felt as hard as concrete behind the goalposts. I don't know how, but I hit them, and I was so mad, and I hit it, and after a while, when I started like not getting mad anymore, my friend, one of my friends, looked at my hand and he's like, Thomas, I'm like, what? Hey, listen, look, and I look at my hand, it's like bulging red. I don't even feel the pain. I just start giggling like a madman. And this was second period, so, and it was in gym class, and I go up to the gym teacher, PE teacher, and I said, I just raise my hand, and it's like bulging, like angrily red, and he's like, "What did you do?" And I had to shamefully have my dad be called to the school. "Why are you, Mr. Fendley, you need to come pick up your son." "Why?" "He broke his hand." And I had to do that shameful, tell my dad, "How did you break your hand?"
Punched the wall.
I punched the wall, and I got a boxer's fracture.
Yep.
And my mom saw it, and then she said in the sweetest yet most embarrassing way, "You broke your pinky." Just made it adorable. It's like my dad was complaining about it. It's like, it's a boxer's fracture. Come on, let him be a man at least. It was so I was embarrassed a little bit, but I mean, that's my mom. She's a sweet person. You felt like you lost your keys.
No.
But yeah, I just had a lot of crazy shit happen to me as a kid. Way too many to count, but I never remember them when I'm on stage, apparently. Because everything escapes me at that point. What was your childhood like?
Awesome.
Best.
It was tons of fun. We destroyed stuff, and we made stuff, and we rode around and told stories. It's pretty much the same thing everybody does.
Yeah.
I grew up here in Mobile. We rode around on our bicycles out in Timberley, out by Cottage Hill Park, I think is the name of it. A couple of places out there. Went to St. Luke's and Davidson, and it was pretty normal, other than being run over and a few other choice experiences. But I spent a lot of time studying martial arts, spent a lot of time practicing.
I was pretty big into martial arts. I was into a lot of weird martial arts, though. I wanted to be different. I always liked, I did boxing. Like I said, I did boxing for 4 years. Mm-hmm. With a trainer named Mr. Johnny, and he was the best boxing trainer I could have ever had. And I learned, and I got fatter, but I never forgot how to do the motion, punch, because my dad has even told me I punch really well. He's impressed by how hard I punch, because I'm not a big, strong. I am thick.
Mm.
Thick as fuck. But I'm mainly just. But I have a good right hand, though.
Mm.
I could probably knock someone out if I really tried.
Have you ever hit somebody?
I've been in a fight, one or two, but I didn't. They weren't impressive. They were just one of them in high school. I messed up the kid so bad. He was and this is a situation. It was he punched me once and he was declared the winner, even though I punched him 27 times. I had him in a headlock, and I started uppercutting him backwards. It was the worst thing. Even the principal said oh, he messed him up. To hear him say that, because I had one of the best vice principals in the world.
I rode on the back of a chair and had a principal whoop my butt one time.
Really?
It was not fun. That was when I was a kid.
What are you in a Catholic school?
No, St. Luke's Episcopal. I was in like kindergarten. I was tiny kid.
They just they were allowed to whip you.
Yeah.
I've never experienced
wooden
that.
paddle. Wham!
I'd never.
The whole 9 yards.
I was just young enough to escape that hell, but yeah, I've never really been spanked. I was always like, my parents disciplined me in a way where they were just like, the intimidation alone was like enough, because I was like a very like polite, like easy kid to control.
Yeah.
If you put it that way. But like, and that was just my parents' parenting style, was just to yell really loud. And that's genetic, because I can yell pretty loud too. It's, and I don't hate him for it. It's just like, it was just freaky that like that's all it took. I mean, like, my dad's a pretty good yeller. So is my mom. Both of them are like when they get mad, they get loud. Like they're like soccer horns with faces.
Very boisterous.
God, I hope they're not watching this.
Kind of like that truck. They probably are.
Oh Lord.
They probably are.
I'm going somewhere.
That's okay.
But my dad's probably laughing his ass off though. My mom probably is too. They're both weird. Because my mom, like, if she's not angry at somebody, she's like the sweetest woman on the planet. Like, she doesn't wish harm in anybody.
Is your family all from
my
the
sister,
South?
maybe.
Are they all from Mobile?
Yeah, they're all from Mobile.
Oh, so a bunch of Southern ladies, a bunch of Southern
Actually,
belles.
my dad is. I mean, he's from Alabama. He lived in Demopolis for a long time.
Oh shit!
And,
really?
Yeah.
You said the magic word.
Do it, Demopolis.
So your dad's from Demopolis?
Well, I don't.
We need my mother here so we can play 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. My family lives in Demopolis.
Oh, really?
My family is from Demopolis.
Yeah,
my mom and dad still live there.
Yeah.
Well, my mom and dad moved back there, but they live there now.
My grandfather lived there for like a long time.
That's in
his old house.
Like everybody freaking came from Demopolis.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, there's somebody from Demopolis. It's weird.
It's
like the one place
small
everybody
town,
got out
like,
of.
Yeah, pretty much. And they built a city.
That's cool though, man. It's such a small world.
But
such a small world. So that's your father is from Demopolis.
If my father's from Demopolis, my mother was born in New Jersey. She's far from like southern. Like, I mean,
so she wandered into the South and just got trapped. It's like, I gotcha.
Pretty much. Gotcha, bitch. But I think she adapted pretty well. Because she was like 4 when she moved, I guess.
So that gets her right back into the Southern Belle thing. She's been here long enough.
She's been here
She's
pretty
qualified.
long. She does have an accent, sort of.
Well, I've probably got family from that area.
Like,
do you have family in New Jersey still?
I don't think so.
Did she?
Because
for a while,
my grandfather was the person who lived in New Jersey. I don't know where he was originally born, but they lived in New Jersey, and my grandmother lived in Mississippi. They lived in New Jersey for a long time, and then they moved down to Alabama for some reason.
Yeah, that's where the accent comes from. You know, like I pick up accents when I travel.
I don't really know if they have an accent. Like, they just, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, because I've never really like seen like a true New Jersey accent.
Well, I'm sure it's a little thicker if you're up there.
Oh yeah, trust me. I'm just thinking like, if I ever go up north, I'm just gonna be like the redneck kid. Because I mean, I have an accent, but not much of one. I'll say like y'all or how y'all doing, like that stuff. But I've met people that have like banjo voices.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Like in the backwood.
Where I can tell you exactly where I lost my accent.
Where?
I lost mine when I was a kid. on the Disney Channel late at night, they would play classic movies. My Fair Lady being one of my favorites. And Rex Harrison played Professor Henry Higgins, who was a linguist and a dialectician. And I studied the shit out of that stuff. And so his whole thing was to teach Eliza Doolittle to not have this pauper accent, the street person accent, but to pass her off as a queen or a princess at a ball. And so he taught her to speak well and present herself well, and she did. He ended up winning the bet. And ever since then, that's how I got into linguistics and communication and not having an accent.
Yeah, linguistics. If you can talk to anybody with linguistics, because that's what linguistics does.
Right?
I just
Study
explained
languages.
linguistics like a moron, like someone who doesn't know what linguistics is. But yeah, both of my parents, they're different, but they're both similar in a way. My dad would punch me if I said that, because he won't admit it. But they both have like a similar way of like, they both have fun together. Like they're both, but the majority of them are like they're way different. My mom is a very spiritual. She's a Baptist woman.
Ooh.
Very very
singing
spiritual.
them songs.
And my dad is a more like logical thinker. He's an agnostic. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, he's just not as like faith driven. He's more of like, this is how things are. This is like I need evidence for any possible scenario. And he's very logical, reasoning thinker, which is probably where my like reasoning and like reasoning came from, because like I've just been around him I've lived with him for 23 years.
23 years?
Yeah, and I still live with him. And like, if you live with someone long enough, like, I love my dad more than any man on this planet. But God, if there are not points where I just want to scream in his face. Because if you live with someone long enough, you'll get mad. And you'll find something that you hate about somebody.
See, I think that has to do with territoriality. And I've been thinking about coming up with good examples for territoriality. Like, one example is the phenomenon of people leaving parking spaces longer if they know someone's waiting for it. Somebody challenged me recently and tried to tell me I was wrong about this, but they couldn't provide any evidence to the contrary. So I went and did some follow-up. There's this, it's a really novel study. It's really amusing that people become territorial of things that don't really belong to them. It's parking spaces in this example. If someone is waiting for a parking space, then on average, it takes the person leaving the parking space longer to leave that parking space.
Huh.
Now, the hypothesis is that it's because of this territorial nature, and the study goes on to link other behaviors that are territorial. But I then take all that and jump to driving in a car, like road rage. Road rage is all about territoriality.
Oh yeah, I get terrible road rage. I might need this.
Yeah. But there are pieces of driving that have been on my mind for a long time because I enjoy driving. It's a very meditative practice. It's got a lot of Zen characteristics to it. You can induce yourself into a meditative state very easily. There is this projection that goes on. It's a really interesting metaphor as well as actual vessel for travel, in that we are a consciousness residing in this thing that is moving at ridiculous speeds that are unfathomable to the mechanisms that we have. It's not real in some ways. And so it's a mind fuck to begin with. But then you start layering in the fact that we're all individuals inside these little individual armored capsules that have some claim to the space that they're atop. And because it's
like
moving...
we're just a bunch of golems.
Yeah. But because it's moving, we have this ability to impress upon or impose our will into the future, which is really a good example of how we're all just talking in a mirror. In that, when you experience road rage, the things that you make up to say about the people who have cut you off or pissed you off have no bearing in reality. They're all the most horrible things you can think of, and so they end up being the most horrible things you can think of about yourself. And so, starting from that premise that you have this isolated bubble that you can project outward from all these external stimuli, but you have no real means of a referent other than yourself because there's no one to co-create reality with. Like, it's the fucked up version of what would really happen if The Secret was true. If you could really manifest everything that you wanted and could intend and all that good stuff, then what you would really be is just an angry person in a car with road rage.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense.
That's what I was thinking about.
Like
in
you
the
just
car
broke out
earlier
of
today.
fairy mode.
Oh yeah, I do. This is what I thought about on the way across the Bay Bridge earlier today.
Yeah, it's amazing how like just being alone in a car just makes you think of like either the most amazing thing you've ever thought of or the most batshit crazy theories you could ever think of.
Well, there's
or just noises.
There's good
or singing
research
Katy Perry's
behind
Firework.
Well, one of the reasons that I like riding in a car and philosophizing and theorizing is specifically because it's good practice for meditation. Because when you're in a car and you experience that 15 minutes just gone, like I don't remember driving the last few minutes specifically, but what's happening there is your brain is going into this theta state. So the brainwaves slow down and you are able to concentrate in a whole different way. And it's when we are removed from our mortal coil that we can really get into that higher consciousness where the bigger picture becomes easier to put together. So because you are more removed from the present moment, you can see a bigger picture and you can go, I can connect these two dots more easily. And so that's the big aha moments, these breakthrough moments when you, like Salvador Dali. I don't know if you know who Salvador Dali is, the guy who did the melting clocks.
Yeah.
So Salvador Dali had a technique where to come up with his surrealist paintings, he would sit in a chair and for his afternoon nap, and he would hold a spoon over a tin plate, and as he would fall asleep, eventually he would relax and drop the spoon, and the sound of the spoon on the plate would wake him up, and he would then be inspired by whatever visions he was having going into that dream. And so it's because of this removed from the alert problem state of consciousness that we can connect these more disparate dots and come up with things that seem genius, because it becomes easier and easier to make these vast inferential leaps across what in real time would be road rage.
And that's when you bring that up, it makes me think about like a lot of the things that humans can do. Just dropping a spoon and whatever he envisions, he just paints it. That just reminds me about a lot of like different things because a lot of people don't give humanity enough credit, because we can imagine some really deep shit.
It is the only good thing we're good at.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Robert Sapolsky?
I've heard that name before. What did he do?
Robert Sapolsky is a baboon researcher and or bonobo researcher, primates, and he's also a neuropsychologist at one of them fancy Ivy League schools. But one of his thoughts is that the only thing humans are really good at is abstraction. So we're not good at making tools. We're good at making tools to another level. We're not good at imagining something. We're not good at identifying ourselves. It's all of these things that nature can do. We can do that to another order of magnitude. So we can teach a chimpanzee to communicate with us. That's one level of self. But a chimpanzee can't imagine and be empathetic what it's like to be you. Yes, a chimpanzee can be empathetic towards you, but a chimpanzee can't imagine what it would be like for you to empathize with me. That's a level of abstraction that it takes humans to do. Chimpanzees can do it, like some primates can do it to the second order, but humans can do it to the third and to the fourth order. Like we can imagine what it would be like to imagine what it would be like to imagine. No, other animals can't do that.
It's like Inception, but with more plot points that you don't understand.
And we're in reality. Right, because it involves quantum mechanics. It's a whole other thing. Quantum entanglement.
It's like Inception 3, the Inceptioning.
Yeah. The Inception.
It's in a dream, and in a dream, and a dream, and a dream. My head hurts.
That's right.
I've never actually seen that movie.
You pretty much summed it up right there.
Wait, that's what every like. You ever done the trick with Siri where what kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
You ever done the trick with Siri? It's like, tell me the plot of Inception.
No.
She'll tell you the same thing. Like it's a movie about a dream and a dream and a dream and a dream. I fell asleep. It's so funny. What, kitty? Meow. Little cat.
Cute little kitty cat.
He was watching me a minute ago.
I like cats.
I have two at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have two. They are both irritating in their own way. They're adorable. I mean, I love cats, and any cat owner could tell you like cats can be a pain in the ass. I have two. One is I used to have 6.
What? Crazy cat dude.
That was nothing. There was like a man that lived down the street from me, my old neighborhood. It was me and my dad nicknamed him the Cat Man because he had like
how many?
He had an armada of cats. Like it's just
wait. What's an armada? I don't remember the numbers.
I don't know what it is either, but it was a shitload of cats. There's like there's like 6 litters of cats.
Like double digits?
I'm just guessing off the top of my head that this guy had like a damn near god amount of cats. Like he was.
You
like,
haven't thrown a number out yet.
Like he.
Give me a number.
I
Thomas.
don't know. I never counted. I never counted the cats.
Give me a ballpark number.
1, 2, 1,000. But
like 2 handfuls.
I would say like
a dozen.
I would say like 30.
Oh,
30 maybe above.
That's a lot.
There's a shitload of cats.
That's a lot.
And he had like a jungle like house. Like he had like big trees. He had like a lot. He had a nice lawn though.
Yeah, but cats were eating the grass.
There's the like little lawnmowers.
If it's the right grass, sure.
But yeah, but he had a bunch of cats. But now I'm down to 2. One of them is named Kramer, from George and Kramer, from Seinfeld, which is what my dad named that cat. Because we had a cat named George, and he died somehow. He was a boy cat. He was meant to die. I don't know what it is. Like I've always been around girl cats mainly. I don't see many boy cats. All right, and when I do, I don't see them for very long. But I think they're just more prone to fight. Maybe I'm not sure. But that was my theory. But and she's a tuxedo cat. She has like she has little socks, like look, not actual socks. That would be
right. Fur pattern.
Make the cat a human. Put shoes on it next. But she's even got like a little marshmallow chin, like the most it's like adorable fluffy cat.
Cute.
She has the same demeanor as a serial killer. Because she'll be like the most timid thing in like person. Just like, oh, I'm scared to be pet or touched or whatever. And she's like OCD half the time, but she'll, like, in private, she'll kill, like, a bunch of animals. Like, she'll kill lizards. We found 4 lizard bodies under a chair once. When trying to move the Christmas tree there. And it's like, let's put this somewhere else.
Hey, man. Active hunter.
Well, we had to clean up that spot anyway, but, and she, like, and I've said this in my set before, she, like, one time I was somewhere, I can't remember, I think it was at my mom's, and my dad showed me a picture. I'm like, what is this? And there was this, like, feathers everywhere, like, in between the workout room and the living room, and there was just bird parts everywhere. There's feathers, like wings, I think a body at some point, and the head was, like, in the living room with its eyes shut. I didn't know birds could shut their eyes like that.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like the bird had accepted its fate and was being ripped apart as it was shutting its eyes. Like, it was so terrifying. I was like, what the fuck happened? I was freaked out. And then there was this one other time where I saw a squirrel, like the sensor light came on, and there was a squirrel, like spread eagle on the pavement, dead, like it was sunbathing, but it was just a dead little squirrel. I'm like, oh shit, and turned off, and then I turn around, light goes off, turn back around, light goes back on, body's gone. Next day, the severed head of that same squirrel was in my kitchen.
Yeah,
it's like a Hannibal Lecter cat. Silence of the Lambs, motherfucker.
Silence of the meows.
Silence of the meow. Just that.
Yeah.
Just that scene. Then there's Buttons. She's basically the baby. My baby. And I feel like I should be like a little Jewish woman saying that. It's my baby. It's my baby. Oh, Charles, look at him. It's my baby. I put a sweater on it. Like,
you didn't really put a sweater on the cat.
God,
did
no.
you?
I would hate myself forever. We do sometimes put cups on their heads, and they shake it off.
It's a cute hat.
But makes a cute little kitty hat, and then she shakes it off and scratches me.
Wham!
But she's basically a runt. She was a runt, and we took her in. I was 11 when I got her, or 9, I can't remember, but it was a long time ago. And I got her in like this little bow, like she had like a little pink bow around her neck, and just like the most adorable little kitten, and now she's like a little bitch. But yeah, I still hold her, and she'll wait for me. Like, it's so freaky. Because, like, you know how cats are like very stoic, like, yeah, like, I don't want to talk to you because I'm a cat, or whatever. Whatever goes on in their little minds, sadistic little minds. But she'll like, every time I pull up, like, when I come home, she'll be right there, like, looking for me. I'm like, hello, Buttons. She'll meow, and just like, I'll hold her like a baby, and then I'll take her into the house. There have been times where I walk out in the street, and she's just waiting for me. She walks right up to me. I'm talking to the neighbors. She's like right behind me. The neighbor's like, oh, she's waiting for you. It's the stupidest thing, but it's adorable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cats are cool. I got a cat too. She's adorable.
What's her name?
Zora.
Zora?
Yep.
You just want like full like mythological name. Like,
nah, that's
Zora.
That's the name she came with.
Zulu.
So we kept it. All right. Do you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
Yes. I I have a channel on YouTube called Otter Gamer. It's
OTTER.
yeah. It's a play on words. I know I'm gonna get a lot of weird comments from just that name alone. My dad has told me, but yeah, I play video games. There's not much stuff on there, and it's like mediocre comedy and whatever, just me talking and stuff like that. But hopefully I'll get better set up eventually. But right now I'm just stuck with what I have.
And what's it called again?
Otter Gamer.
Otter Gamer.
It's just like my name has like a little picture of like a little otter on it, like a little otter version of me, because I asked my friend to draw it. And it's got like a blue background. So yeah, you can find that on YouTube, and that's about it. I got no other advertisements.
Okay, no worries.
Because I don't advertise myself worth a shit.
That's quite all right. Look, there goes Marshall.
Yeah.
Hey, Marshall.
His bag.
We were talking about you.
And his mysterious bag.
Dude.
That I wonder where he gets it from.
Well, this has been fun, man. Thank you for joining me, Thomas.
It's
been
great
a pleasure
to know more about you.
Well, likewise. So, give Cameron a little peace. See y'all later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.
Auf Wiedersehen. By Facebook. By you.